Roll Tide, everybody, and welcome to Elephant in the Room, and it's part of Roll Tide Pods with Jay Coker. I'm Mick Gillispie, part of Disrupt the Media. Once we get all that out of the way, I want to tell you that Alabama had another big recruit today, and that recruiting class is now number 2 nationally. So Husky Harsin has come to Tuscaloosa, and he just continues to battle. 11 different elite recruits have committed to Alabama just in the month of June, which has been just it's been fire for these guys, Jake. I mean, you turn around and like today, it's a 5-star, first 5-star. Didn't have any 5-stars. Now we got
every day.
Every day.
Yeah, there was an Ohio State, clown in our comments saying we didn't have any 5-star commitments. Well, take a walk, pal.
More to come too.
Yeah. No, that's right. That's right. Hey man, just showing, look, they came in, they're not intimidated, they're ready to go, getting the hometown guys and then keeping that prowess alive out on the West Coast. It's look, they haven't done anything on the field yet, but they're doing a hell of a job off the field, and you gotta love what we're seeing right now from Kalen DeBoer and that whole staff.
Ohio State won, Alabama closing in. Now they're number 2 ahead of Georgia and the rest of the SEC. So the month of June has been really a sign of things to come for this class. And he's already starting to get guys for 2026 too. But this is 2025. And we knew that this was going to be the toughest recruiting class for him just because the fact that, a lot of these recruits that you get, you've been working on for years, right? Nick Saban talks to guys that recruit, when they're juniors from the time sometimes they're in 8th grade, and his staff, and same thing with Coach DeBoer, but he's been able to connect with the families, and you've met him. I met him. There's just something genuine, and you trust this guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, he comes off as an unemotional leader. He looks you in the eye, he talks to you, and you just get that feel. It's kind of like what we talked about with Jalen Milroe. I mean, I know neither of us know Jalen all that well, but met him a couple times, and you get a pretty good feel for somebody just off of first impression. And we just seem to have a lot of good leaders. I mean, Kalen seems like a great leader. A lot of the players, that have been there for a while, that are leaders within that locker room, seem to be really high character guys. And I think that, creates an opportunity or an atmosphere where, you can build a really, really positive culture. And, you bring in guys like Ryan Williams, who, again, he seems like another high character guy, a guy that gets after it, from what I've heard, getting after it, the weight room, at workouts, and also taking the extra time to, recruit new guys. I mean, he's been there for a few months, and he's already recruiting the next class. Says a lot about him and just the overall effort from everybody within that building.
Yeah, the commitment that he's had. And honestly, he's the guy that got it all turned around. That was the recruit.
He was the Julio Jones.
He is.
He's Kalen DeBoer's Julio Jones.
And the minute that he jumped on board, I mean, it's been honestly a roll for Alabama. They haven't looked back, so.
Well, it's every day you something pops up on your phone saying there's a new big time commit that is headed to Tuscaloosa, committed to Tuscaloosa.
Right.
I don't know, just the momentum we've got right now heading into to July is, I mean, you just feel it. You can feel it, and who knows if that translates into the first year. I know we've talked about it before. It's always tough your first year. I don't care who you are or what program you represent. Getting your system, learned and to where the players can operate at a high level. It always takes time, but again, you just got to love the way that our program is handling itself right now, or carrying itself, and building the brand, continuing to build the brand.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I mean, I see it too, and feel great about this, because that winning national championships equates with winning recruiting championships.
Yeah.
And they go hand in hand.
We have a light issue.
Yeah, you just keep talking. I don't know why it just turned off.
Yeah, no. Again, we've gotten to a place now where if we don't win a national championship, it's it's really a letdown for the entire fan base. I mean, a Sugar Bowl's not enough. A Rose Bowl, whatever it is,
Mhm.
if it's not a national championship, then that season will be forgotten.
Yep.
And it's look, you can say what you want, but that's kind of where you want to be. I mean, I've said it a million times when we were playing the national championship, and I felt like I wasn't playing too well. The thought crossed my mind that you're going to be the first guy to lose a national championship for Coach Saban,
Yeah.
and then this season's going to be forgotten. And I mean, sure, it is a high pressure situation, but at the same time, that's what you come there for.
Yeah. And you got it done too. I think about that a lot because it's what got you and helped get the team over the finish line. I thought you played your best games down the stretch too. I mean, you could see in your process, and I went to, I think, about every game you played as the starter. But you could just feel that team getting better and better and better, you having more confidence.
Well, it's like I always say, it's like last year's team. I mean, the team at the beginning of the year was unrecognizable 12 weeks later.
Right.
I mean, we looked like outside of some bad snaps, we looked like a well-oiled machine going into the SEC championship. I mean, Jalen Milroe, if it's not for him, he amongst the media and the fan base was a question mark at the beginning of the year, and then towards the end of the year, he's looking like a possible Heisman candidate.
Yeah, and one of the top players returning now.
Yeah, and I say I mean, there's so many guys that when you talk about recruits that don't work, that come to Alabama that don't work out in college. I mean, everybody that signs with Alabama has the talent to play at a high level. But a lot of times you don't see these guys develop and to where they're star players because there's so many good players there that they end up getting drowned out by a Julio Jones or Calvin Ridley or Amari Cooper or you got to get that opportunity. You got to have reps, and so from game 1 to game 12, I felt like a completely different player, and we had 9 new starters on that offense that year, and it took a while to gel. I feel like in game time situations. Now, a lot of that was my fault, just getting acclimated and getting used to game like speed, live action. But it takes time to get that comfort level with everybody on the team, timing, chemistry, all that, language. So look, we got a new staff, a new system this year. It's going to take a little time, and hopefully we can just manage to get through that first half of the season before we really understand how to play together.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you, but the recruiting is where you win.
Oh,
because
yeah.
You got to have the talent.
You got to have the players.
Yeah.
You got to have the players.
And this roster was elite. It's just, I'm still just a little bit skeptical of the way that all of those guys in the secondary left.
Yeah.
They didn't wait for the staff to even get there. They didn't give them a chance. It just feels like, I don't know, maybe there's more to it.
There's going to be a lot of guys that regret that decision.
And there's going to be also, we're going to eventually find out that there's probably more to it than just, hey, everybody just hauled ass.
Well, I mean, I think, I don't know if there is a whole lot more than that. I mean, I think they, there was Coach Saban. I think he did what was best in terms of walking away, and I don't think anybody can really say what the best approach there is.
Oh yeah, what are you going to do? If you retire at the end of the season.
Yeah,
and the end of the season for Alabama is normally a national championship or a college football playoff. I mean, he did. Saban's entire career was doing things the right way.
Yeah.
Even when he walked away.
Yeah. It's not like he it's not like
right?
It's not like he walked away like that Texas A&M baseball coach.
No. Can you imagine that? We're gonna get it. We're gonna talk about baseball here in a second.
I mean,
lot to talk, lot to unpack there.
Man, I tell you, we'll get there. But again, I think when when everybody found out Coach Saban was leaving, and again, I think he did what he thought was best. And I mean, I don't know if that's the best or not, or what. I mean, I'm not there, but I when Coach Saban makes a decision, I tend to usually always think it's the best decision because it usually is.
Right. I mean, it's just the timing was perfect for timing.
Yeah.
Not that we wanted him to leave, but I saw our friend Lance Taylor interviewed Kristen Saban, his daughter, and she was like, they said it might happen, but we thought it might have happened before. Like, she wasn't even sure.
Yeah.
And that's his daughter, you know? Yeah. So I think the only person that knew really was Jimmy Sexton, who seems to know everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say Nick's agent, but he's staying around. You see, he's going to make what, $500,000 a year to kick it around.
Yeah.
Not too shabby.
Not a bad deal.
But you know what? Like, honestly, it is a good investment because when he shows up to something, it's still a big deal.
Oh yeah. Well,
he's still a weapon recruiting.
Yeah. I mean,
and he can help you break down film.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's still going to be there. You know, Kane is more than capable, and I think the best D coordinator we could have possibly gotten, and he's going to have the help of Coach Saban at the same time. Coach Saban's not going to be able to walk away. I mean, he's like, it's going to be like what's Joe Pendry? You remember Joe Pendry?
Oh yeah,
they
yeah.
used to call him the Wizard.
Well, look, that's Mike Johnson's guy. You know, if you talk to Mike Johnson, he's like Joe Pendry.
Joe Pendry
loves him.
He's another West Virginia guy.
Yeah,
but he is. People used to call him the Wizard. I mean, if you had a question and nobody could seem to find an answer, Coach Pendry had it.
Right.
He had it figured out. You know. Oh yeah, we saw this in '76. And this is how you beat it.
Right.
So here's the answer, dumbass.
Yeah, right. So it's fun. Those guys, though, man. Those football lifers. There's a thing going on in baseball right now, and I work in baseball, where they want those kind of guys out, and they want all the analytics people in.
Yeah. Just an Excel spreadsheet guy.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm being serious, and you're like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like, I guess because when you're the Excel spreadsheet guy, you don't want the old timer telling you that you're doing it wrong.
Oh yeah. Well, you don't want. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even though you are doing it wrong, you think you're doing it right. Look at this. I've got it on paper here. I'm telling you, this is how it goes.
Well, you don't want to get. You don't want truth to get in the way of
Yeah.
I mean, we can't, we can't let the answers get in the way of a good time.
No. Oh man. All right. Let's switch gears. We got to talk about it. Like we were texting a little bit last night during the debate. Man, have you ever seen anything like that before? I mean, it was like, I know, like, we're not even going to get into who we're going to vote for, but I know Trump likes to talk about Trump. Like, he just does, right? But the other guy, I was just like, man, I kind of felt sorry for the guy after a minute.
Some
like
hard-hitting stuff.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean,
It's like Father Time just shackled him with chains or something. Nothing was coming out right.
Yeah.
The beginning of the fight started.
Joe Biden looked like an Auburn fan on 4th and 26 or whatever it was.
All the memes and stuff. I got a feeling that they're gonna switch him out though, man. Like there's no way he's gonna last until the end of the campaign's over. I mean,
it's a disaster. It's a disaster.
Everybody's like, this is really our choices.
Yeah. Well,
I guess I don't know.
Let's drink a beer and talk about football, please.
Yeah. Trump came to the Alabama LSU game the one time. Remember, we were number one and they were number one. I think they were number one like
that was
the
Joe
playoff
Burrow's year.
Yeah, and then Tua. If Tua's ankle wouldn't have been messed up, I think we would have won that game, man. Still think that.
And had he, I'm not blaming it on Tua because we wouldn't have been close if it weren't for him. But the fumble right there on the opening drive,
I know, man.
That was what to me started tilting the scales.
Interception, like the turnovers. The interception right at the at the end of the first half, and they took it in. Yeah. But the atmosphere, though, man, like, I remember being there that day, and it
I
was like,
loved being there,
dude, it was like all the streets were shut
I
down.
was
And
talking to somebody.
buzz.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody. Did you go to the LSU game this past year?
No.
Apparently, that was the loudest game ever played in Bryant-Denny.
Really?
Highest decibel level of any game played in Bryant-Denny before was this past year.
Watched it here. After following you guys in 2015 all the way out to Arizona and everything. I think I went to pretty much all your games. I don't know that I missed one.
You go to A&M?
I don't. It was at A&M. That's the game I missed, I think.
That was the loudest game I've ever been in.
Really? Yeah. Oh, you told me. Yeah. That's the one. I can't remember why I didn't go to that, because I planned on going. I got a buddy that I went to Alabama with that lives there or close to there, somewhere out in,
I've never played in a game or I've never had that feeling of, have you ever been in an atmosphere where it gets so loud your ears you can't hear anything anymore?
Yeah. I want to say for me, that would have been LSU when a couple times have been down there. The one that sticks out to me the most is when we beat them down there and John Parker snuck it in. That was loud, man. We missed that. Yeah, that one. We missed the field goal that would have won it in regulation.
Yeah.
That was the loudest. When he missed that field goal, oh my gosh, man, it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think old John Parker, I think, is coming down to Mobile this weekend.
Is he?
Yep.
Get him on the show, man.
Deal. Him and Carson Palmer should be coming down here too. A little old Fairhope.
Get him over here, man. Let's do a show. Depending on what day.
No, man.
Boats in the shop right now, so I'm landlocked.
You gotta walk down to the dock.
I'm actually going to Floribama tomorrow.
Oh, there you go. I hear you.
I got my shirt on. I'm just
a few bushwhackers.
I'm not doing I got to take it easy, man, because I got to work all next week. I got baseball Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Then at home, then on the road, and then I'm going to Pearl River for Boys to Men. Going old school on you.
I hear you.
A lot of it's my friends.
I mean, I if you played some Boys to Men songs, I'd know what songs they are, but
although we come to the end of the road, that one.
That was actually pretty impressive.
Man, they were so big there for a while, man. Like that was like every high school dance. I feel did you guys have high school dances?
Oh yeah. I feel like that.
They have a bunch of hits.
In that song and that music video, they all have orange suits on.
Yeah,
you need to wear that to the concert.
I would wear it. You saw have we talked since I went to the Rickwood game?
Yeah.
I think we did. Yeah. Did you put my outfit up for that? Did you see that?
I do want to see that.
Let me pull that up, see if I can find it. But basically what I'm saying is I'm not afraid. Okay. I'm not afraid. I'll do it. But yeah, so that's on Friday, and then I think I'm swinging back down here after that. So next, and
Boys, they're at what, Pearl River?
Yeah. And then Big and Rich are on Saturday. I was going to go, but now I'm kind of, because then I'm going to the Dead and Company for 3 days out in Vegas.
Yeah.
So
I miss Big and Rich on that intro to college football.
Yeah, you want to go? You want tickets? I'll give you some.
Man, here's one thing about me on the weekends. I really, really enjoy not going anywhere. I mean, concerts are great here and there. I'll get out, every now and then, but just a quiet weekend at the house is pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, I hear you. Oh, I could get you and your wife in.
Yeah, I'm kind of a recluse, to be honest with you.
Well, did we talk about the Rickwood game?
Yeah, we did. No, not on here though.
Not on here. It was awesome, man. Giants and it was Giants and
that was a
Cardinals.
Huge game for Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
I watched it on TV, and
I played there, man. That's the thing, Never thought that there would be a real game there.
There needs to be a resurgence of historical sites where they play games.
I agree,
I
man.
I think you add a whole new element of viewership when you do that, and hearing a lot of those guys come back and talk and tell their stories. I mean, I just enjoy hearing old stories from old players that have a lot of weight to what they say,
They read it. All right. So I found a couple things on the next round's page. Okay, here I am. Let me play this first though. This is them getting the field ready. Mute it for you.
I can't see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it up. Hold on. Just let me get out of this. I'm the host and the producer. Thanks, guys.
We need a young Jamie in here.
Yeah, we do. We do. But this is what they had to do is they had to have a game there. They had to redo the whole field. So
was it just in shambles?
Well, I mean, look, for Major League Baseball standards, I mean, you can't just. It's not like you just have a game. You know, like the field, the surface is a big deal. So when I played there, now this is years ago, but there was I want to say there was like a slant a little bit somewhere in the outfield. I remember. Now that's talking like 20 some years ago. But look, I mean, they came in, they redid the field. The place looked awesome. It's one of the best sporting events I've ever gone to.
Yeah.
So I loved it. I thought the city had a big win there. Major League Baseball had a big win. And I heard that basically they're saying that they're coming back. Rob Manfred is saying that they're coming back. They're gonna.
Oh, they need to. That had to be. I'd love to know what the viewership was for that game, because it had to be one of the highest rated games in the last couple of years, I would think, or at least up there, excluding playoff games. I mean, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't even watch the game, man. I was like, I mean, I was watching it. What's crazy is I got there. We got our tickets through Major League Baseball. Hung out with Lance and Ryan Brown, and we go to sit down. They're sitting in the row in front of us.
Uh-huh.
And then Ryan was there, but I couldn't find him. And part of the reason why is that the cell phone coverage, it was like, you know, being at an Alabama game, like your cell phone just didn't work. You know what I mean? Like, like you would text and it wouldn't go out, and then you would try to turn it off and turn it back on. So he had gone too.
I don't know what you were wearing, but I'm picturing, you know, LT walking down the stairs and seeing you and being like, oh God, we just got seated next to an inmate.
No. I went on their show and I warned them that I was going all in. Okay. So I promised everybody I would do that.
And to honor the great Willie Mays.
So to live up to that.
One of the biggest.
So I'm going to play this just for everybody on here because I'm that guy. So look,
this is one of the biggest sporting events in the history of our state. We've done a lot with football, but a real major league game, and to honor the great Willie Mays. Willie Mays is a treasure. And honestly, I met him on numerous occasions. Not only was he a great player, but he was a great person. And it is so cool to be here and kind of remember a legend. Is he better than Babe Ruth? Yes, maybe.
I gotta say,
they're the two best.
We're in SEC country. This has the energy of an SEC Saturday.
What do you think?
I've never seen you dressed up that much.
I look like a carnival barker. You were called Jay Barker on my show, and I'm a carnival barker. We're the Barkers.
I just did the tailgate show with Mick, and somebody in the comments said, oh, "Hey, good to see Jay Barker," and I was like, "Do I still look like Jay Barker?" I love you, Jay. I mean, me and you might have the same haircut in a few years.
And that you need to call me Jay. I haven't heard from you in forever, man. Love Jay. Partner on he's been on the shows many times, man. He's a great dude. Like he's one of the easiest guys to be around that you could ever meet. You know what I mean by that? Yeah. Like he's just funny and gets along with everybody. I didn't see him at the Rickwood game though, but I saw LT and Brown, and it was hot, and those $15 beers went down fast.
Especially in that coat, I'm sure.
But you know what was funny is so I decided I was going to wear that. Now I don't know if I got the pictures on here. You know what? Maybe I can pull them up on my Instagram.
Prior to that, when's the last time you wore just a button down and a coat?
I mean, I don't know. It's been a long time, right? But I played there, and so I got a picture of me as a young guy playing there.
Yeah.
And then I broadcasted there games, and I wore a get up for that. And then I was like, I'm wearing a get. I figured other people would wear get ups for this. They didn't. Nobody had one.
Yeah.
But I saw like where Fox did like the retro thing at the beginning, and every single person in the whole stadium had that kind of hat on and a bow tie and a jacket, so that's how they used to wear it. But there was one guy, and they had what I loved about it is they brought back all of any of the guys that they could get that played in the old Negro League, right?
Yeah.
And you talk about a group of guys that haven't really gotten the recognition.
They had a guy on TV that was 100 years old.
Throughout the first pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these guys were great players, and who knows how their careers would have gone had they been able to play in Major League Baseball. I thought about you. I've actually talked about this, when you said before about talking to some of the old timers, and you're like, hey, it was a different game. You guys didn't play against black people. You said that.
I mean,
it's true, right? You want the best of the best there, and they didn't have that, and those guys didn't have that chance. And I think that it's a fantastic thing to bring everybody back and just give them a little love and recognition, right?
Yeah.
And that's all you can offer somebody, and then and I think Major League Baseball is like giving pensions finally for some of these guys, which is another thing they should have done a long time ago. But they're all like, they come out on the field, and if you didn't see it, they all like lined up. They had them all sitting because they're so old now, the guy, and there's not a lot of living Negro League players. And then they came back in, and they were under the stadium kind of lined up, and I'm wearing that get up, and I see this one guy, and he's like sizing me up, like he's looking, and then he sees me, and then he looks, and then I see he like puts his thumbs up, gives me a thumbs up, and I'm like point back at him. I give because he's probably thinking like he remembers when everybody dressed like that. Now there's just one guy like that. But I love it, man.
A guy dressed like that never dresses like that.
No. Do it for the guys, man. Do it for the spirit of the game. But I love baseball, so
I was about to say that is a baseball fan move right there.
I love
if
it,
I've
man.
ever seen one.
Love it. I was so happy the next day because it was one of the best experiences in my life.
Yeah.
I can't even get into, first off, that stadium being built in 1910, older than Wrigley, older than Fenway. Somehow we haven't had it get, smoked by a tornado or burnt down or torn down, condemned. I mean, somehow we've gotten this far with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Major League Baseball stepping in means that we'll get the resources to make it look like it did last Thursday. Right. And then to support our neighborhood and our city and our state with that is so important. And that neighborhood needs a lot of help, man. And it maybe, with stuff like this, it could rejuvenate that area of Birmingham. And I told you, I played for West End in the Industrial League back when I was in college, and we played Rickwood, and we played Ensley, and we played in Cordova and other places, right? And these are some parts of Birmingham that need a lot of love. So I thought it was a great thing seeing the real major leaguers playing on that field, wearing the throwback uniforms.
What's his name? The
amazing
from Alabama that
that hit the home run.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. From Alabama, get to come back, play at Rickwood Field, and hit a home run. I mean, that's he'll remember that forever.
Oh yeah,
that's something he'll show his kids one day.
Yeah, well, it couldn't have been better, man. It just couldn't have been better. I mean, like, you're just be walking around and there's Derek Jeter and Reggie Jackson, who I met as a kid. Yeah, he's talked a lot this week.
You see Barry Bonds there?
I saw Barry Bonds. Yeah, I saw Ken Griffey Jr.
See them ask him. They're like, "So, how do you think you'd have fared against Satchel Paige?" He's like, "I'd have gone yard." Come on.
Yeah, he thinks so. Satch would have got him. Satch might have buzzed the tower a few times on Barry. Yeah. Those guys were meaner back then, too.
Back then, old Barry wouldn't be wearing that elbow pad.
No, but it was great, man. LT had a comment on the next round that I thought, and it was Brendan Donovan of the Cardinals who hit the home run in the first inning. He's from, I think, Germany or something, but he grew up in Alabama, Donovan. Okay. It was so cool to see that, right? Born in Germany, grew up in Alabama. Huge moment for him. Cardinals ended up winning the game. Giants stink. I would have liked to have seen the Giants win because, I hate the Cardinals. But Cardinals won. I
Why
like
is that? Why you hate the Cardinals?
right here. Maybe I'll just show that to you right there.
Okay.
Okay.
I hear you. I
But
hear you.
but
I
you
didn't know
know,
if that was like if it was like a deeper than that.
no, it's
kinda.
just like if the Cardinals paid me enough money, I'd hate the Cubs. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
So,
I'm really joking.
okay, yeah, okay,
It just well
sure you are.
depends on what enough money is. Now, I've been a Cubs fan for 40 years. I love the Cubs, but I'm thinking like if I was Major League Baseball, the Atlanta team should come over and be the Atlanta Crackers, which was the team that they had. I think there was an Atlanta Black Crackers team, which would be an awesome throwback uniform.
Yeah.
I would think like Tampa, it would be awesome. Miami, there was a team called, I think they were called the Miami Cubans that were in the old Negro League. But I mean, for those smaller market teams, events like that build your fan base. People are Braves fans here, but I don't think they're hardcore Braves fans where if they could be influenced easily to pull for another team.
There's
some, but not like you meet Cubs fans, and I mean, like they're
one of my best friends
hate
watches
life when they
every
lose.
Atlanta Braves.
Does he?
Of course, we used to. When I was growing up, we watched every single one. I mean, I was all about the Braves, but since I've gotten older, I just hadn't paid as much attention. But I mean, I've got one friend especially. Just I mean, watches every game, knows every player. I mean, they don't miss a single Braves game.
Yeah. If I was Tampa,
but the majority of, I mean, there's a lot of Birmingham kids who went to that game that are Cardinals fans for the rest of their life.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, Billy Williams told me this. You know, he's from Whistler, Hall of Famer for the Cubs. Great guy. Huge Alabama fan, by the way. Sweet swinging Billy Williams. He told me that when he was a kid in Whistler, that Jackie Robinson and Brooklyn would stop and play in Mobile. And I think he said that they played maybe Bob Feller and the Cardinals. I don't remember. I mean, Bob Feller and the Indians, but I can't remember who was on the Indians team. But he said Jackie Robinson. It got off the bus, and he's like, I looked at him like he was 10 feet tall, you know. And he's told me that story on numerous occasions, you know. So that's what made him fall in love with baseball.
Yeah,
you know. And then the great Buck O'Neil, Negro League legend, is the guy that was a scout for the Cubs that actually got him signed with the Cubs.
Yeah.
And when baseball was integrated, you know, Buck went and working for, you know, the Cubs helped them get some legends, man. I mean, you think about those players that came in, you know, like Billy, like Willie Mays, who that game was. When we remember with us, we talked about it. I said, I can't wait to see Willie Mays come to Birmingham. And then
the irony of that whole situation is crazy.
Man, that was crazy. Yeah, he died during the minor league game on Tuesday. So they like during the game, they're like, ladies and gentlemen, you know, and they have like a moment of silence for him right there. And then his son came, and Barry Bonds, you talked about him, that's his godson. Willie Mays, the maybe the all-time greatest player, maybe second. I mean, I guess it just depends. The best 5-tool player of all time, because you can't give Babe Ruth speed, but Babe Ruth pitched. But I mean, when you talk about 1 and 2, it's always been Babe Ruth and Willie Mays. I don't even know that there's a third, you know. The third guy could be
Aaron in there.
No, I mean, he's not even on the same level, not even close. Oh, yeah. I mean, he hit a lot of home runs, but like all around game and what he meant to the game and all that stuff. Hank could be maybe in the top 4.
Yeah.
But he was just a model of consistency. Whereas Willie Mays was just elite at every turn, and Babe Ruth was too. I mean, really, you know, I mean, like Babe Ruth hit more home runs than entire teams. You know, he changed the game.
Oh, yeah.
And he pitched and won and, you know, and did all that. But that's here nor there. It was a great event. And I hope that, and Rob Manfred, the baseball commissioner, says it's not going to be the last game. So Birmingham's just got to keep that field up, protect it, you know. And next time, I think you should go. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, I hate I missed. I mean, talking to you the day after it happened, it just sounded like one of the most fun events. It's like the Kentucky Derby of baseball.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to know what Ryan thought, because he was there too.
I'm sure he had a blast. He loves stuff. I feel like he loves stuff like that.
Yeah. We tried to. He had tickets. I was kind of down the.
If there's one thing I know about Ryan is if he shows up somewhere, he's having a good time.
Oh yeah. I was trying to find
and
him.
everybody around him's having a good time too.
I was looking for him, and he had passed some of my friends because they knew him. They didn't know him, but they knew who he was. And I was like, "Where is he?" Because I couldn't get my phone to work.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting. But anyway, LT said this on the show. He said if he had tickets to the Braves, like just an Atlanta Braves game, he'd probably have busted out early and not gone. And say he had 2 nights tickets, he wouldn't have gone the second day. He was like, look, if I had tickets and they did it in second day, I would be there second day. The setup was great. It was just, man, it was just like, it was kind of like spring training, you know, where you're kind of the players are accessible and everything.
Yeah.
But it was here and it was a real game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it really counts. So, but Major League Baseball has to buy out the home team. You know, so there's a cost to it.
Who would that be? The Bears?
Well, that was the home team was the Cardinals. But I think that cost, I think, depends on what it costs for you on a nightly basis or something.
Yeah.
You know, how much money you lose. So Cardinals have always had
imagine they generated some revenue that night.
Yeah, and I don't know how all of that other stuff works, you know, but kudos to MLB. Kudos that you guys killed it. The event couldn't have been better. I was worried about parking. I was worried about this and that. Everything was fine.
Yeah,
it's great.
Well, something. Of course, the NFL doesn't need any tips on making money, but I mean, it'd be good if they reached out and played games, and instead of going overseas, play in places and across the country that most people don't get to see.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too. All right, let's talk some baseball. I'm going to pull this up for you because it came down to Tennessee and Texas A&M, and Texas fired its baseball coach the day of the championship game. And it was Schlossnagle was the Texas A&M coach, and Tony Vitello, who I know, like him a lot, Tennessee coach. And the College World Series, to me, has become the best amateur sporting event in baseball in the world. I mean, it's just the level of competition's gotten better. The game.
Me and my dad were watching some of those College World Series games. I mean, it was just amazing. Some of the plays, some of those games, I mean, were flawless defensively. And we're sitting there like, this is like watching a Major League Baseball game. It has some of those aspects to it. I mean,
but more passion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's just more emotion in it. And I know, look, Tony Vitello, he's caught some hell, you know, for being as, I guess, raw as he is. But, and I mean, I make fun of him too for wearing the coat and all that. And I think it's goofy, but at the same time,
the pimp coat,
I also respect it. I mean, you know, if a guy's a good guy, has a lot of energy, the players love him, then you gotta respect it, you know. And it just it is what the college game is in most sports, is just the kids having a good time playing for the love of the game. And of course you got NIL now, but I mean, you can still tell there's a lot more emotion there than a lot of pro sports.
Well, they won the national championship, and the players, Tony's doing an interview, and the players dump, like, I guess it was Gatorade or water or something. And then Tony grabs a handful of ice, puts it in his mouth, spits it, runs, jumps on the tarp, celebrates, jumps in the crowd. And former Alabama quarterback Greg McElroy on his show had, and it's, what is it, McElroy and Kublik or whatever. He had some comments, and I figured we'd play him. I mean, since he is a former Alabama quarterback, and here's what his thoughts were.
He does. I just wish he didn't have the antics that he does. He's like a WWE character. I mean, it's embarrassing. Seriously. I mean, to be an adult, it's just, I'd be appalled. I really would. I know he wins and he's great and the kids love him and all that stuff. That's awesome. But if that was the leader of my organization, I would have to have a little talking to him. I just would. It's just, it's unbelievable. The guy and the team a couple of years ago, I think, lost the national championship, and they had the best team. I think that team was probably better than this team. And, you know, I think they lost it because they didn't harness their emotions. And it's great to lean into that, but man, It's just like I said, it's a tough team to root for. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, his antics after the game last night were embarrassing. Seriously.
Listen, just because he's
All right, there you go. He apologized for that. I don't know why he apologized.
Greg, you got to lean into it.
I'll tell
You
you.
got to lean into it.
I just know, like, I wish my partner would just go swinging like that. I mean, this guy knows how to grab people's attention.
Well, I guess.
All right, what are you going to
is-
say to respond to that? No, I'm
right.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. I
I
love
think
those
I
fans.
told you though. I mean, unless you're a real piece of shit, I'm gonna have no problem with you. I like most people.
Like, yeah, you
Like,
were.
I think that's honestly him running into the fans and saying,
I
you know,
loved it.
I mean, I think it's great. I don't, I mean, again, the fur coat thing, some of the attitude stuff, yeah, it can be a little much, but at the same time, I mean, I've said some things in games that I wouldn't want other people to hear. You know what I mean? So I mean, sometimes it does get the best of you, but I mean, it is what it is.
What, like, I mean, you won the national championship at Tennessee. Like, let's compare it to our playoff run,
Which playoff
the
run?
baseball playoff run. If we're,
Alabama's,
yeah, right.
I'd much rather them be acting like Tennessee than
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like go get a pimp hat and a jacket and celebrate, have a
Well,
good
look.
time instead of like rolling over like they did. Like
Look.
they rolled over. It was embarrassing watching them in the regional. Look, it's not about the winning and losing. It's the way you go out there and play the game, man.
I hate Tennessee with the rest of them. I mean,
You think that's why Greg went after him so hard? I feel like he hates a lot of people.
I'll say Greg's a lot smarter than I am, so his opinions are probably a lot better than mine.
You think he does that stuff though, just like because he's gotten under my skin before too, you know that. But is this like just to get viewers? Like, is this a listeners thing, or you think he just woke up one day and he was like, "I'm going after these guys," or it just comes out
he
that
is
way?
annoyed by it.
Yeah.
I think he just should calm down on the apology tours. And
I don't apologize, Greg.
and just hey, if that's how you feel, that's how you
Yeah.
feel.
He should have doubled down on it, Trump style.
Yeah, just hammer down.
I think we ought to outlaw pimp coats. Then the way I dressed at Rick would, I mean, that's embarrassing too, I'm sure.
Actually, it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
No, but
You pulled it off.
the Tennessee fans are like, they are so angry, man. Like, it was like the other day, like, it's like, do you know him? Some people were trying to figure out if it was him that I worked with.
You have his address?
Oh man, don't apologize for that. Look, if you
Yeah.
think that didn't seem too bad to me. Like he
didn't-
said, he's
I
very,
didn't
very
think what he
sorry.
said. I thought the WWE comment was pretty funny.
I love WWE though. Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm the people he's talking about.
Actually, yeah, you're right there with Tony.
I know. I know. I like Tony though.
No, but I hate Tennessee right there with the best of them. But when I saw that center fielder, I mean, just give up his body, dive into that fence, and make that catch. I think they were playing. Who were they playing? Was it Florida? I can't remember, but it was like 2 weekends ago. And that center fielder went all out. I mean, into the wall, made the catch. I mean, he had eye black on the wall from where his face hit first. To me, you give that kind of effort, yeah, I get you. You got my respect. That kind of effort and toughness. If I've got teammates that I don't care how good they are, if they're going to go out there and sacrifice their bodies like that, you can be on my team any day.
Well, the way they came back too. Remember, they were down like to Florida State in the first game. You got to win the first. Really, you need to win the first 2 games to win that.
Florida State getting hammered in football, getting hammered in baseball.
Oh man,
I mean, that's a tough year.
Yeah, but they made the World Series though. Let's say something. here's what he said. He said, I want to start by apologizing to Tony Vitello and the Tennessee Volunteers. I took a shot at them yesterday and it wasn't necessary. My frustrations about where we are at in society boiled over. It was unnecessary. Yesterday should have been an accomplishment of what Tennessee accomplished on the baseball field, as opposed to a stream of consciousness. Basically, diatribe about all the things that are bothering me in my personal life and all the things that are bothering me right now about where we are in society. Man, I just don't see it that way, man. You know, I see it as the game of baseball. It's not like it used to be. Okay. It's the unwritten rules. I was reading a story the other day about Michael Jordan playing for the Barons, and he's like noticed it was like a 10 or 11 run lead. And Tito Francona was the manager, you know, who went on to win World Series for Boston and was his Hall of Fame manager. But he was there with Michael, and Mike just had got out of basketball, killer instinct, doubles, pitcher's not paying attention. He steals third, and you know, and Tito's yelling over, "Hey, that's on us." They like basically don't get the next guy hit. It doesn't matter anymore. They do that all the time now.
Yeah.
But they didn't used to do that. You know, you got to find the thing that makes the game fun and get the guys engaged, or you're going to look like Alabama in the SEC playoff and in the regional.
Yeah. And I mean,
sorry, Alabama, but it's the truth.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, you guys may be more flashy nowadays. But when you talk about like just the grit and toughness, I guess, or I mean, you want to talk about him running out into the stands and celebrating with the fans, whatever, and maybe showing some emotion and wanting to fight on the field. I mean, you know, maybe not the best look always, but if you look back at highlights and the way that baseball or any sport used to be played, it was a whole hell of a lot dirtier than what we see right now.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you know, managers getting pissed at their pitcher for not ear holing a batter.
I know a good story about that.
You know, that was part of the game. It's just it was a tougher, definitely a tougher world, you know, 10, 15, 30 years ago. But now we expect these kids to just, you know, show no emotion or you know, stay by the book, but you got to have emotion out there to be good. You got to have an edge.
Mm-hmm. And you got to have fun, man. I mean, I can't stand it when I see kids playing games and it's work. It should be fun too, man. It's a game. I mean, for God's sake, that's why you play it, right?
Yeah. I mean,
did you have fun playing?
Oh, I mean, yeah, but again, the competitive edge is what makes it fun, wanting to win and doing whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, look, I had a lot of teammates that wore earrings. I think earrings are really, really freaking weird. I'd never want to wear one. They go out there and they dominate who I'm playing against, and they're on my side.
Yeah.
Wear as many earrings as you want
that's
to.
Right.
You know?
That's right. That's right.
I mean, I don't know. It's, to me, as long as you're showing up, busting your ass for your team, I mean, you're, you know,
and you do it the right way,
guy,
and you do it the right way.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what means the most to me.
And doing it the right way is hustling and playing clean, you know, and that's what Tennessee did. They didn't play dirty, you know, they just the way they celebrate. And a lot of teams have celebrations, you know, these days. And he was talking about the year that the last time they were the #1 overall seed, they lost to Notre Dame in the Super Regional. They had more talent on that team. He's right. They did. They had more talent on that team than they did this team, but that doesn't always translate into winning, you know, because you also got to be loose.
Yeah.
You know,
and don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm, you know, if I'm coaching a team, everybody's wearing the same shoes, same socks, same everything. Well, of course you can't do that now, but I mean, I remember we were going through a walkthrough my senior year. It was Friday before, I can't remember which game it was, but Alec Morris was signaling in all the plays, and Alec was running late out of a meeting or something, and he threw his shoes on to run out there to signal plays in, and one of his shoes was untied. And Coach Saban lost his mind when he saw that one shoe. I mean, just one little thing. Everything was fine. He's doing his job. His shoes were untied. Man, he lost his mind because he wasn't, you know, dressed and everything was the same as everybody else.
Right.
And it's an old school mentality. And I mean, that's the way I would be, you know, I mean, I feel that way. I wouldn't be handing out a fur coat, but at the same time, you do what you got to do to get the most out of your players.
Well, the consistency that program has had kind of reminds me of this, man. And I'm going back a little bit. I told Tony this too in a conversation. His start was just like Jim Wells' start. Took over a program that wasn't winning a lot, came from a program that was a national contender because Jim came from LSU and then he came from Arkansas. Tony came from Arkansas. And then, within a short amount of time, Jim was taking Alabama to the World Series and Tony was too. And the difference is that the University of Tennessee, they invested in the program. And Jim Wells couldn't get Alabama to do anything hardly. Bad stadium, got a little better, but it was still not that good. They didn't invest like Tennessee has. Invested in him, invested in the stadium and upgrades, doing everything they need. Now I know it's, with NIL, it changes somewhat, but I think Alabama could have been a team that won a national championship. They lost to LSU in the national championship game in '97. And a lot of you guys are going to remember that Roberto Vaz had broke his ankle or hurt his ankle in a batting practice because he stepped on a baseball. They beat him if they had Vaz just because he was one of their better pitchers and they ran out of pitching. But here nor there, I look at Tennessee and I go, you know what? Good for them for investing. And that's what I think Alabama does now better than they used to do because Nate Oates is winning and we're investing back in the program, I think we need to invest more. I mean, honestly, I think we need a new arena, but it just feels like if you want to be successful in the college game, you got to invest. Mal Moore didn't build Bryant Denny up to standards. He built it over standards.
Yeah.
They came in and then they and the situation with all of the other facilities that you have, they built it over expectations, not up to.
Well, football though, I mean, that's a no-brainer.
What I'm saying though is
money that makes for the state.
Yeah, but
when
you go
start thinking basketball and baseball, you gotta get creative.
But if you win at that level though, and you get that kind of excitement,
you
can turn it into something.
Yeah. I mean, now is the time to take advantage of basketball.
Yeah,
But this is I think Greg Byrne is. I don't know how you find a better AD in the country. Look at who he's brought in. Look what he's done with every program. And I think baseball, look, this is first-year head coach, made it to a regional. That's great. He needs some time to build the culture there. But I don't know his long history, but just knowing the fact that Greg Byrne singled him out and hired him gives me all the confidence in the world that he's going to turn that program around.
Okay. I'm with you. I'm with you too. All right. Well, we just did about an hour. Just that fast. It did. Fun show. Anything else that you want to get into today before we wrap it up?
What do you think about that A&M coach?
Yep, and we meant to talk about that. See, that's why I asked you that question. So now finishing up our baseball
conversation. Because I'm hearing a lot of rumors, but man, let me tell you, it doesn't sound good.
So it's Jim Schlossnagle, right?
Yeah,
I'm saying that right. Schlossnagle was the coach at Texas A&M. So they lose. You guys probably know this. He goes into the press conference, and some poor kid asks him, hey, there's a lot of rumors, and he just wears this kid out. Jumps his ass like, why did you ask this? Like the kid did something wrong, asking him if he might be going to Texas. But the timing of it is even better because the next day he goes to Texas, takes the Texas job.
I mean, it'd be one thing if he took the job like 2 months from now, this thing wasn't figured out a while back. And I believe, was he not recruiting kids to Texas while he was an A&M coach?
Right.
I mean, well, what are we doing?
I know.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I feel like I hold coaches to a higher standard of that. They ought to be. You send your kid to play for a coach, he ought to be heavily invested in you, your kid, your child, and making that kid not only the best player, but more importantly, a man. You send him off to college. He needs to be a man when he comes out.
Yeah.
And I mean, what just a bad example for all these kids. Some guy you're supposed to look up to and see as somewhat as a father figure and emulate off the field, and that's what you get.
Yeah, I mean, he had to know he was taking the job, right?
You announced the day after. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I think it was a done deal way prior to that championship game.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you believe that wasn't a done deal, days or maybe even a month before that game happened, before they even went off to Omaha? I mean, you don't just hire a guy in an hour phone call,
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe there's just, I think some coaches get caught up in furthering their career, and I get it. I mean, you need to be striving to make the most of your career,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I mean, success is only, you measure success based on the people you uplift around you, and you can't just step on them as you take the next step.
Yeah.
I love college athletics, but it's obviously become big business. And so, you see more and more moves like this take place just because of the amount of money involved. But it's sad for those kids at A&M. I mean, that's a memory that some of those kids will never play baseball again after that. And it's something that they'll hold on to for the rest of their lives. And I mean, I just can't imagine, my senior year, Coach Saban taking another job, and you kind of felt like,
he's going to Auburn.
Yeah, this wasn't this wasn't a priority, and then that this is what you've been working your ass off for your entire life to be able to achieve, and you find out the guy that you've been following for however long you've been in school is pretty much full of shit.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'd feel pretty betrayed.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I feel that way too. I mean, it's not like you're just going to any other school, it's like you're going to the arch rival,
Yeah. Yeah. Aside from all that, though, just basically abandoning your team. I mean, he can say that he was all in all the time, but that's simply not the case if you're taking that job the next day. If you're announcing the next day that you're going to Texas,
I left my family to come here. What? What'd you say? I was at the Final Four, and Maryland beat Kansas, and Roy Williams was the coach of Kansas. And then they asked him, "Hey, are you going to North Carolina?" Because I think it was after Dean Smith left, and then they had another guy, and he didn't make it, and then they were going to hire him. And he was like, now's not the time to ask me that. There's a tough locker room full of guys. Like, he did it in a way where it was like, he didn't say he wasn't going, but it was like, It's about these guys right now,
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, that's a tough question, but, you don't want to lie. But at the same time, it's like, how do you handle that after a tough loss? Because Kansas probably didn't think they were going to lose to Juan Dixon. He's right on my wall back here. Steve Francis, Lonnie Baxter, Chris Wilcox, Taj Holden. They didn't think those guys were going to get him, and they did, and then he went to North Carolina and obviously had success just like he did at Kansas, but he handled it the right way. And I'll tell you, man, just looking at our basketball team, I'm so excited about it, man. This roster is so good. It's
gonna be unlike any other year we've watched.
I can't wait, man.
I mean, I say that 2 years ago we were pretty excited, but
yeah, but I just feel like these guys know what it takes now.
Yeah. Well, with Mark Sears around,
yeah,
I mean, you've got your engine right there.
They had the one guy last year, Pringle, who's a good player, but just constantly, not allowed. I mean, suspended.
You're always
stuff.
Nervous that Tech was coming.
Yeah, right. Like he just wasn't a grown up. And then in those games, Sears, there was a couple times where Sears just was like, straighten him out right on the court. Hey, this is what we're doing. And the guy actually played great. Like, it's not it was a maturity issue.
Yeah, I mean,
and now he's gone. Let's get rid of those guys. You want to go somewhere else? We're going to bring people in that want to win a championship.
Yeah, and we have not won one yet. So I know we had a great year last year, but. And I know Nate Oates kind of alluded to the fact he felt like we were playing like we were last year's team or the team 2 years ago last year. But I don't see without, us not having not won a national championship, I just don't see us coming in there taking it for granted.
Yeah, I don't see that either. I don't see that either, my friend. Well, I think we've said it all now, though.
Yep.
I think we completed
all the
another.
stories.
Guys, I want to tell you, and I mean this. Thank you for watching the show, man. Thank you for sharing with your friends. Thanks for making this something. I mean, like we're starting to notice that a lot more of you guys are hanging out with us, and we really appreciate it. And we love having you here, and we love the conversation. So roll Tide, and thank you.
Roll Tide.
We'll talk to you guys again next week, twice. So we'll see you then.